So not everybody is a startup person. If she started a business, she would be working more, and then I could work more guilt-free a little bit.
What was your first biggest purchase? A wife?
But the right thing to do right before they sign is like, okay, let me tell you all the reasons why you should not join. I just value my time a lot. The entrepreneurial one, I mean, I love it when I hear that, I started a business. Like, obviously that's a great answer. And then, some of the time those businesses don't work. Actually, most businesses often don't work. And so then the question becomes, what did you learn in that process? Right. And so, so that's another one.
You went from owning a business, paying yourself a salary to not just $1 million or $2 million to maybe about $20 million the second day after you sold the company. What was the first biggest purchase you did after,
Sorry,
cashing?
what were the numbers again? I just want to make sure, just because
About 20 million?
What, that we sold the company for?
No. What was your share?
Oh, yeah.
Your share, maybe it was around 20, 30.
I mean, again, like I can't say, but
Yes.
all numbers that have
tens.
ever been stated have not been accurate. That's
Okay,
what I will
so
say.
you went from this to a lot more.
Yeah, sure.
What was
yeah.
your first biggest purchase? A wife?
Funny.
Did you get married after or before?
No. So my so Amanda, who's my wife,
I
and
have the funniest questions.
Yeah, you have,
It wasn't a wife.
and also interesting ways to phrase them. But so Amanda and I have been dating. Started dating when before I started my first company.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so we've been together for a very long time, and so and obviously, like I think that actually is an underrated aspect of success.
Mm-hmm.
I would say is that. Because not everyone, I mean, you know how hard it is. You know how many hours you work. You know all the toils, the drama, the ups and the downs. And so I think one of the things I've been very lucky with is to have someone who's there from like even before the beginning of that and who's still here. And that, we have
last. She did last.
I mean, she has, it takes a special person to be able to.
When did you get married? After selling the business or
I mean,
before?
she's very, going back to like my question of being very entrepreneurial. So I remember once my first company was doing well, Fluidware. We had an option. So it was starting to do, like it was kind of, we were making money and I had a salary and so on and so forth. So we weren't necessarily, it wasn't some really big thing. And so what I would say is we had an option of like, we can either get married right now and use the money for getting married, or she had a dream of opening her own business, which was was a lingerie boutique in Ottawa. And so we kind of looked at it and we're like, yeah, let's start the business. And so we delayed getting married for another year. So anyway, so she's also
use
very
this as an excuse too, right?
I mean, if she started a business, she would be working more, and then I could work more guilt-free a little bit. Maybe check the box.
Like
there.
I'll keep her busy so I can work more.
So maybe that was a side outcome. But no, I mean, she's great. I think again, it just goes back to if you can find someone that you can work really well with or partner really well with, like you should keep that forever and ever.
What are the questions that you would ask, or I should ask, or a single guy should ask when they're going on a date and they want to know, is this the right person to stand beside me when I'm starting all these businesses and I know I have another 6 tough years and I'm sure she's going to stick around, or it's just a guess or a luck, or you ask your mother to pray for you?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a relationship advice person, but what I will say that Amanda and I had I was very honest about, I work a lot. This is what it's going to look like. And, you just have to be upfront and honest, and like that person has to know what they're signing up for.
Okay. Be honest.
Yeah. Maybe not on, date one, right? Like, hi, here's, what you need to know on day one. Maybe not on day one, but very quickly, if you intend to have a long-term relationship, it's better to get that stuff. I mean, we do this in hiring too, right? So a lot of times employees join, and first maybe you're selling the employee on joining, but the right thing to do right before they sign is like, okay, let me tell you all the reasons why you should not join. And they should know all those things. And so if they know all the reasons they shouldn't join and then they still join, then that's really good.
Why I shouldn't join your company?
There is, there's a lot of reasons you shouldn't join. So not everybody is a startup person, right? A startup person kind of means that you have to be comfortable in a world of uncertainty. You have to be comfortable figuring stuff out on your own. Nobody's going to hold your hand, right? There's going to be a lot of expectations on you. It's going to be more work than, your standard 9 to 5. Right. It's all of those different things. And so, yeah, if those are not, those don't kind of jive with where you are in your life right now, it might not be the right place.
What was your biggest purchase? So it wasn't a wife because you already had that one secured.
Yeah. So I would say we bought a house right away. Yeah. Pretty closely thereafter, we bought a house.
How much was the house? Did you go flashy or
not on
fancy?
Not on the first one. Not on the first one.
Okay, the second one.
It was just like the concept of owning a house.
What else did you buy? Did you buy let me simplify it. Did you buy a watch? Did you buy an expensive jacket? Did you buy a car? Something like it's not necessary.
I think I did
Take a long vacation.
I did buy a watch.
What was it?
So it wasn't what I should have done. What I should have done was buy a Rolex because those things
made money on it. Yeah,
those things hold their value. But I bought a Tag Heuer, and Tag Heuer they're great watches. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just like they don't hold their value, and so you actually lose. So
do you still have it? Do you still have this watch?
I still have it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
it must have some.
But now I just wear my Apple Watch because it's more functional.
Okay, Apple Watch. So you don't have a Rolex yet?
I don't have a Rolex, no.
Why not? You're afraid of wearing a Rolex and have people calling you flashy? Or because I know lots of people, they're afraid of
What are you wearing?
Something.
You have a Rolex, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I know lots of people, they want to buy something. They want to drive this car, but they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being judged as a flashy because, trust me, man, you do something like this, especially in a city like Ottawa, people will call you names, will judge you. So were you afraid of judgment or?
No, I'm not.
You drive an Escalade, so you don't care of judgments, right? You drive an Escalade, no?
My wife drives an Escalade. I am borrowing her car today, though. Yeah. So what I would say is, no, where I actually spend money, and like that is, in my opinion, the best use of money is just anything that can save you time. And the reason I say that is like time's the most valuable commodity. And I just value my time a lot. So we just I outsource as many things as possible. From chores around the house to, getting a nanny, right? Just anything I can get someone else to do. And I can solve that with money. Like that to me is the biggest value because I need my hours. So for example, like my sleep is worth it to me, right? Like I want to get 8 hours of sleep. And so I don't want to sacrifice my sleep. So I want to get that. I want to spend as much time working on Fellow, my business. So I try and outsource like everything that is not like super core. And so I just think that the best use of money is to buy time. So, and that's the way that I buy time. Because again, like you just have to think about and value highly your own time. And anytime you can use money to buy back your time, I think that's and actually there's a really great book. I said, buy back your time. And I'm thinking there's Dan Martell, who's a friend, wrote this book, Buy Back Your Time. I highly recommend all entrepreneurs read it.
Nice. Talking about time, how many hours do you work a week now? Because you're a family man, you have kids.
Yeah, I still work quite a lot. So I would say that but I've learned to become multitask. So for example, I'll give you kind of my daily routine. So, say like wake up around 6 and, maybe meditate, grab coffee, go to the gym. But like, even while I'm at the gym, I'm like working. And what I mean by that is I'm listening to sales calls. So I'll listen to 2 to 3 sales calls while working out just in the morning. So these are calls that my team is having. And, sometimes I'll listen to them at like 1.5x. Sometimes I'll slow it down. Sometimes it'll be at 2x, depending on like the content, because this is my way of like staying close to the action. And then what I'm doing is like in between, I'm listening to an audiobook or I'm listening to a podcast. So like the beginning of the day, even as I'm like getting ready to kind of like get into work mode, I'm probably consuming like 2 hours of content, like even before my day starts. And then typically I'll work, say, between 9 o'clock to about, again, so like official, like behind my computer work, between like 9 to 7:30 or 8. Yeah, and then bedtime with the kids, that sort of thing.
So you work from 9 till 7:30 every day, 5 days a week?
And Saturdays. And Saturdays. And then, so what I've done is, so again, it's like time chunks. So there's some important things in here. So one is I do bedtime with the kids every day. So I spend between an hour and an hour and a half with kids, 3 kids, half an hour
God
each
bless.
minimum, right? And so definitely do that. I do have a date night with my wife on Wednesdays. It's very religious. I think, like, again, you have to invest in your relationship, and your relationship is part of your business. It's part of your work, right? Like, it's just like for you to be you.
Why Wednesday? Because it's the middle of the week.
Yeah, it's the middle of the week, and like we cherish it. Like I treat it,
And it's not as busy in the restaurant. It's easy to get.
It's easy to get
reservation.
anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Very
So
efficient.
it's awesome. Really, like that. That's one of like the best parts of the week for me. And so we do that, and then usually what I do is on Saturdays. So this part is flexible. Again, like with the family and all. So sometimes if we have plans on Saturdays, it'll be Sundays. But one of the days of the week, usually I'll work until 4 p.m. And then after 4 p.m. So say it's on a Saturday, I'll work until 4. And then, after 4, I will, do family time for the rest of the day. And then on the Sunday as well.
You're always on the go. Like, so you spoke so much about family and work. You didn't tell me about your buddies. You didn't tell me about fun stuff you do for you.
I
You
need
didn't
to
tell me
have
about your
more-
workouts, your exercise.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of life is it just to live for the kids, the wife, and the company?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like,
And I'm not critiquing. Maybe you're
No.
happier than any other guy. I'm just asking.
yeah,
like, how do you feel
I would
about
say I'm
this?
pretty happy. I'm pretty happy.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, I mean, the way that I think about it is like I generally like love fellow. I love what we're doing, and I love every part of it because for me, it's like imagine you play a video game. And the video game is fun. It's dynamic. Every level gets harder. There's surprise challenges. There's like euphoric moments, and then there's moments of very scary moments. And you love playing this game. Like what you want to do is you want to play this game for as long as possible, and you don't want it to stop. That's how I feel about entrepreneurship.
You're just an addict, bro. You have addictive personality.
It's like I absolutely love it, and I've actually been thinking about it because I was like, why do I take vacation? I do take vacation, and I think vacation is really
How
important.
many a year?
I usually do take my 3 weeks. So I did
Ask me
take
how many vacations I did this year.
none.
11.
11? Oh, good for you. Good for you. I mean that's
That's work/fun.
yeah, work/fun. I highly. I mean, there's a lot of tricks and hacks to that too. So what I would say is like, but the way I think about vacation for me personally is like the reason I do it is because it's very important and I know that I need it because it restores me. But the reason I do it is so then I can go back and play my game, which I want to play as much as possible for as long as possible, and I love it. And I want to keep getting better at it, which is the other thing. So the addictive part for me is like, am I getting better at playing this game? And so that's why I say it. Like, it's not about like one of my internal mottos is I don't do this for the results. I do this for the love of the game. And so that's how I truly feel about it.
I have a list of multiple choice questions I ask every
Let's do
guest.
it.
I'm going to ask you, but first, I want you to give me a couple tips on being a CEO, like, because you want to be world-class as a CEO. So what's like big tips on being a good CEO or a good manager too?
Yeah. So I think like as a CEO of a startup, the most important thing, and again, like, some of these things I feel like I've mastery of these skills and getting better at these skills is something that isn't like you have to keep getting better at. So even as I say these things, I don't think I'm perfect at these things. And and I need to get better at them as well. But the first thing as a founder of a startup, I would say, is that yes, you were the founder of the company, but in order to really like allow people to build a great team and be able to recruit the best, you have to make it so that other people feel that it's their company too. And the way that you can do that is by really giving people true ownership over certain areas, and not saying like, here's the 9 steps you have to follow and checking on those 9 steps. It's really like, hey, you own this area. Show me what you can do. You own this, right? If people feel ownership and they feel that it's their company too, their opinions matter, their ideas are things the company can work on, then everybody can be a founder. And I think like that's kind of like what we try and do at Fella, and which is why we optimize for entrepreneurial people, because they can thrive in that kind of environment. The other thing I would say is like, you have to be a curator of really good talent. So it's important that, and this is something that you have to get really good at, right? Because you have to think of yourself as the head coach. So what does a head coach do? Trades out bad players, gets good players.
I remember the question. What are you most proud of?
Oh, what are you most proud of? Of course.
It's been eating my head off.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's
we'll go back
memory,
to it. I don't want to confuse the audience.
Yeah. So so that's what I say. You have to be a curator of really good talent. And then my good work. I mean, these are my questions, but you remember them better. So it's too many coffees for me today. So and then the final one I would say is the most important thing in my opinion is you've just got to be a really good storyteller. And so part of it is like, I forget who described this to me, but it's like you're driving this bus, right? And you're in the driver's seat, so you can kind of see what's going on, right? Like someone changed lanes in front of you, you see you're going up a hill, you're going to go down. Like you can see these things, but your team is in the back of this bus, and the bus doesn't have windows, so they can't really see what's going on. So they kind of rely on you to explain, hey, this is what I'm seeing on the ground. This is what's happening. I can see the path ahead. It looks beautiful, right? Like we're going to get to that destination. I can see it. Let me describe to you what that looks like. And so if you can be that really great storyteller, curate, your talent in that way, and give everybody ownership in the company, I think you have a recipe to build something really, really awesome.
I love it. So what are you most proud of? What's your favorite answer for this one?
Usually for me, the answers that I like the most are things where someone says, I did this project, or this is some outcome that was achieved, and I say like, why are you proud of it? And the reason is because everybody else thought that it was impossible. So, I mean, you know how it feels, right? Like when people tell you something's not possible.
That's a stupid idea. That's impossible. No.
Yeah, when they say it's not possible, like that's the greatest feeling in the world. So I love it when people say that. That's one of my favorite things.
Possible is easy. Impossible is hard. Easy is unrealistic. Hard is realistic. Easy is when you dream. You dreamt of this. It's happened. Yeah, this is easy. That means it's possible. But when you actually, start the work, it is impossible. It is hard. So it's actually gonna happen, and it's better for you.
Yeah, and then I would say so we have this saying at Fellow, which is that there's, like you said, there's easy mode and hard mode. And we don't like easy mode because a lot of people can play easy mode. We like hard mode, and we actually prefer it if each year hard mode gets harder because we're all playing this game, and who wants to play a game on easy mode?
How many dropouts do you get a month or a year? Like employees who are quitting, tired, I can't do it anymore.
Honestly,
don't tell me none, because all this what you're going through now in games and hard, and knowing that we live, in North America, I'm sure there's lots of quitters. Or most of your employees, you outsource them.
No, Fellow's obviously still a startup, so we're only around 70 or so people right now. No, we don't. We don't have a lot of voluntary turnover.
Okay.
Like we just, yeah.
It's there, it's not so much.
No, and one thing that I think has really helped is that we've had a lot of, I think, from a remote work perspective, like we're obviously big fans of remote work. Fellow is, really optimized to help companies that are hybrid and remote run better meetings and make meetings productive. So part of it is like we've had employees change cities, and previously what that would have meant is like you've got to change your company. And so, but because we're remote, we've been able to retain people even as their lives require them to change cities.
Are you planning to sell this service that you have to the government of Canada?
We should.
That's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, no, we absolutely should. I think it's we've just so far been focusing on low hanging fruit, so we haven't done some basic things like translate into French. But yeah, when we do, I think it would be really awesome. So my last company,
they need efficiency in their meetings and in their programs.
JC, everybody needs Fellow, and I'm not even kidding. So basically, if you think about it, so up to 20% of all working hours in knowledge working companies is spent on meetings. So if you think about it, you have a $10 million payroll, $2 million of that is spent on meetings. So right now, you're spending, or, $10 million payroll, you are spending $2 million a year on people going to meetings.
That's right.
And we have the data. We have tens of millions of meetings that happen on Fellow. And the data is very scary. The data is that 68 to 75% of meetings are ineffective. And so just on average, there's $70 billion in lost productivity just in the US on meetings. So it's a very scary place, and so I think everybody needs Fellow.
Cool. The multiple choice question, and then after this, you get to ask one question. And
I get to ask you a question. That's unique.
And then, or two, and then at the end, I end it with another question.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready? Good. You have to pick one of these choices, okay? Like the closest one to you. What makes you rich? Money, knowledge, or happiness?
Can I give you an answer that's not one of those?
No.
Okay. Money, knowledge, or happiness?
Yes.
Happiness.
What was your answer, other than these options?
I was going to say habits. To me, habits are so underrated. I think, the habits you have are possibly, it's something that nobody mentions, but habits are wealth. They take a long time to build, but once you build them, they pay dividends
forever. Did you read
the
book Solon gave us? 7 Habits for Success? Or you weren't there?
No, I wasn't there for that one. But yeah, there's a lot of great habit books, Atomic Habits, Power of Habit.
Power of Habit.
Yeah.
Why did you start your business? Lack of job opportunities, to prove something, or to follow a dream?
Follow a dream.
Money to me is a protection, a weapon, or a bridge.
Weapon sounds a little intense. I would have said tool, but yeah, I would say weapon.
We say tool on a different podcast.
Okay.
JC's podcast, we say a weapon.
Weapon. Okay, weapon it is.
I'm successful because I was patient, I was impatient, or in between.
Impatient. I think most people would say I'm impatient.
If I could go back, I would invest my money in real estate, on myself, like hiring a mentor, a coach, etc., or crypto and stocks.
Oh, definitely, yeah, myself.
I'm gonna ask you a question about this one. Do you give back, yes or no?
Yes.
You have the Q&A section on your YouTube. People can ask you questions. Is it just about Fellow or about Fellow and anything else?
Yeah, the ones you're referring to are on Fellow, are related to Fellow. But yeah, no, I volunteer with a lot of organizations. I do a lot of speaking gigs. I mentor a bunch of people. I've done angel investing in something like 30, maybe 35 different companies.
Wow.
So yeah, I've done a bunch in that territory.
Are you a strict boss, flexible, or asshole?
Oh God, I hope nobody thinks I'm an asshole. But yeah, I would say that the right answer to those questions is that your style of leadership should change depending on the times and what's required. I don't like to put labels on myself because I think you need to adapt to whatever the situation is. There's this famous part of this book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things, where the author talks about the Peacetime versus Wartime CEO. I think it's an incredible essay. It's like maybe a page or two, but everybody should read it. Sometimes you need to be a peacetime CEO. Sometimes you need to be a wartime CEO, and you need to know the difference.
I love it. Political party. You can pass on this question.
I honestly don't follow politics at all.
Good.
I think everybody should just get along and we should make everyone prosperous. That's my political
Does your business
viewpoint.
affect your life? Yes, it's my whole life. No, I have a balance. I'll answer this one for you. Yes, it's my whole life.
Okay, yeah. No, it's a game. To me, this is all a game.
It's a game. Work hard or work smart?
Both.
Would you rather deal with clients or employees?
I mean, I really enjoy both. I probably really enjoy talking to clients because of just my entrepreneurial side of always
You want to
trying
hear about your product.
always trying to figure out like what the next opportunity is, how to make our product better, come up with new products.
Okay. If I would go back, I would invest my money on me and on myself and hiring mentors and coaches. That was your answer, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? And when did you have your first one? What's your advice how to pick the best mentor or coach for you?
I would say my mentor. Yeah. So the number one thing in finding a mentor or coach is someone that you have great rapport with. And you know it, right? Like we can work with anyone, but there's certain people that you just have really good rapport with. I think that by far is the most important part about finding a coach. And yes, I have a coach. I also have, I would say, many mentors. And you need, because what you realize is that you can't you remember how I talked about when you hire a person, you should optimize for the most important strength.
Mm-hmm.
Like different people are, even in your mentor stack, you're going to have different people who have very different strengths. And the very important thing is to never take advice from anyone. All advice is wrong. What you want to hear is stories and for them to explain the context behind the stories. So someone will say, I did blah, blah, blah. Why did you do that? What was your decision-making process? Like those are great questions to answer. And then what you want to do is you want to probability weight whatever everyone's saying. Like I might ask you a question, but then I will probability weight that with knowing what I know about you and your background and the things that you value. And then that's a data point. And then I'll get other data points and then I'll make my own decision. But knowing that, everybody is almost like a different chat GPT, right? Like everybody is, primed with a different set of context and knowledge. And so they are answering all questions based on their context and knowledge. And so it's just important for you to know that and be able to kind of, take that into account as you make your decisions. But mentors are very important. My previous co-founder, Ellie, who's actually my dad's age, which was one of our co-founders at my last company. Him and I keep in touch. We probably chat once a week. He's been a mentor, and yeah, I have many mentors in different areas of business.
Nice. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Why did you buy a Rolex?
Shit, I thought.
Why did you buy a Rolex?
That's a good question, though. All right. Why did I buy my Rolex? Why you're asking?
Yeah, tell me, should I buy a Rolex?
Asking?
Why should I buy a Rolex?
Why are you asking?
Well, no, because I don't have one and you have one. So you clearly have a different line of thinking than I do.
Yeah.
Why should people buy Rolexes? What do you get out of it?
People shouldn't buy Rolexes. You buy a Rolex if you want to buy a Rolex.
Well, why do you want to buy one?
Why I wanted personally to buy one? I'll tell you why. Because I'm a business owner and I'm single and I'm in a place where I have to motivate myself. I have to push myself. On the low days, I don't have anyone to motivate me. Your team, you always create some activities for them to motivate them, to push them. Let's go. Reward them, reward systems. So for me, I'm the boss. I don't have anyone above me to tell me, hey, do this. That's your reward. Good job. Do this. So it's not just a Rolex. I traveled 11 times this year. I buy a suit every fucking week. I change my car every time I want to change my car. The Rolex, I think it's the cheapest flashy thing I've ever done. And I didn't do it for the people. I didn't do it for the attention. I did it for reward. I started when I had a smaller budget with the ring. It's then a bracelet. Why? Because I want to be so tired, exhausted. And then, look, I'm like, yeah, good job. Listen, you worked hard, you earned this one. It does feel great. Trust me, if I put it on your wrist now, you'll be like, shit, I love it. So I've done it with a couple of people. Like they tried to give me a hard time. I was like, why would you buy a $30,000 watch? I'm like, hey, give me a wrist.
Yeah.
I put it on their head and like, so good. I made someone drive my car one day. Like, drive it. Okay, compare this to your fucking Honda. Yeah, it feels better. It feels better. Life is good when you have things that feels better and you have quality things. So for me, it was a source of motivation and a reward for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
And one more thing, I'll tell you, I'll give you this tip. I network like crazy.
Yeah.
Everywhere I travel, I go on Eventbrite, I find networking events, I book a ticket and I go. I just went to Oakville just for this event. I left the same day of the event from Ottawa. I got there the minute of the event. I left the second morning. I used to go to events when, I was a brokey. And I go there and I try to make the good first impression, try to buy a nice $200 suit, the nicest $200 suit I can find so I just can grab some attention. Just go like shake your hand and try to ask you questions. I did it. I did good job at it. But I was always like trying to go after people to talk to them. I'm going to say this, and some people, they would say, oh, you're a fool or whatever, but I enjoy listening to haters. Dude, now I go to a networking event, I stand on a fucking table and people come talk to me.
Yeah.
Because they realize your shoes, your suit, and your watch. So pretty much like everyone who's successful, they don't want to go talk to people who are not successful because they will drown me down to them. But if they notice that you're successful, they want to talk to you because they think they can get better by talking to you. And first 5 seconds impression is about, the way how you look.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again, it just goes back to like my notion of things, life being a game, business being a game, and sometimes you have to figure out what variables will give you extra advantage in that game, and so I think you figured that out.
Well, it does help with networking, but that wasn't the reason. I noticed that it's helping with networking after I got it. It's like, by example, we were in Forbes event in Cleveland, and we were in some very nice restaurant. I'm not going to say names. They didn't pay me. And then I'm walking by, and some guy stops me, wants to have a chat with me. I'm wearing 3-piece suit, a tie, and my watch. The guy turned out he's the president of a political party in the U.S., and like they're very known.
Yeah.
Why do you think this guy approached to talk to me, not to 100 other guys passed by him that night?
Yeah.
Why?
So, I mean, it's the.
So this is a bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a proxy for, I suppose if.
Say it. It's okay.
I mean,
you can say whatever you want on my podcast.
I'm saying that,
Just
the idea is that. I mean, it's a purple cow. I don't know if you've read the book Purple Cow, right?
No,
but like,
I don't read books.
Yeah, okay. You should. Books are good. I
can't. I'm dyslexic. I'm a little bit dyslexic. And
Audiobooks.
Yeah, I do those sometimes. I do those if they're not boring.
Yeah, so there's the great book Purple Cow, but summary is that if you're driving along a highway and you just see a farm, you're not going to stop and look. But if you see a purple cow, all of a sudden you're going to stop the car, get out of the car, and you're going to look. And so I think, all these things, it's just social dynamics. So you do have to stand out. I think standing out is important.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about what I own, or I ask you my final question?
Okay, ask me your final question. I was going to ask you about your 11 trips, but let's.
Yeah, sure. I'll answer about my 11
Okay,
trips.
yeah. What was the best one?
That's a hard question. The best one this year, Miami.
Okay.
I learned
about Ultra Miami Festival.
No, first of all, that was my first trip of this year, and I really wanted to go to the U.S. And my friend Majid, he's like, we were watching the sunrise together, and he's like, what is something? Actually, I did it in 2022. He's like, what were your goals in 2022? We were at the end of it. I'm like, actually, I had 10. I did 9. There's only 1 left. I didn't do. He's like, what? I'm like, traveling to the U.S. He's like, let's do it. 1 week later, we were there. We did it.
Love it.
We went there. I met some genuine gentlemen, some genuine business owners. Some of them were billionaires. And we had a mastermind. The way they were talking to me, I felt like, like we're at the same level. And they taught me a couple things, like the 3 circles of life, like you need to have 3 circles in your life. They taught me about like, yes, if you make money, help, give away, grab people, help them to go to the top. Unfortunately, I don't experience this in Ottawa. I don't experience this in Canada. People here, if they know something, they want to go live, they want to hide, they want to delete social media and hide. They feel like having lots of money is something shameful. That's how their community make them feel. And then they end up eating this shit, you know? And in Miami, like, I didn't feel this shit. It's like you go there, it's okay. Yeah, I want to buy a nice car. I don't care if they're going to judge me. I want to talk and say I sold my company for this much. I don't care what people would think. I will still give away. They will, honestly, man, they will give you every lesson they know. Here, we don't have this. And that's why I was like, it was incredible. I went the second time after a couple months. So that was my favorite trip. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love you're going against the grain and trying and you know, single-handedly turning Ottawa into Miami.
I'm not, no. I'm not trying to change Ottawa. I love Ottawa. I still live here for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful city to come back to from a vacation. Honestly, there's lots of things I love about Ottawa. I've said this in many podcasts, and that's why I'm still here. I could have left. I have nothing here.
Right.
It's like I could leave like this. You know, I can make friends in different city, or I can come visit my friends, you know. I left Lebanon, I left my family, and I came here. I can leave my family and my friends again. I don't give a shit, right? But I love Ottawa, and that's why I'm here. I love it for some reasons. One of them you mentioned, it's good to raise a family. I'm not going to raise my family in Miami. So, you know, my son will turn into a whore in like 2 years. What is a takeaway message to the audience, not to me?
Yeah. I would say the takeaway message is that, you know, it may sound crazy and impossible to some way, but there is a version of your life that you can turn into a game so that all you want to do is wake up and play that game. And there's no reason why everybody can't have that. And, you know, it's something that you should think about. And if you want it, you can have it.
I love it. That's one of the very unique takeaway messages I've heard on this podcast. I love it. Well, man, I know it was really hard to get you to be here on the podcast.
Yeah,
how long
thanks
has it
for
been? Like
accommodating.
4 or 5 months?
Yeah, it was. You know, you have such an awesome. For people who haven't seen this studio, it's incredible. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming, and I'm looking forward to do some business with you in the future. We're discussing a couple things, couple ideas.
Yeah, you're gonna help us. You're gonna help us grow Fellow, build our social presence.
I hope so. Yeah, thank you so much.